welcome to renovating an abandoned AR-15. Now, today's video is brought to you by Proton Mail, and I've actually used Proton Mail long before they decided to be a sponsor of our YouTube channel. All I'll say is that Gmail is basically stealing your information. Anything that you put into a Gmail email, that is not secure at all, and there is a better option, and it's Proton Mail. I've been using them for years. They have a free version. They have a paid version. It's phenomenal. I've been using it for years as well. The VPN is also great. I've been using it for years. I use it basically every day, even on my phone or at the computer. Check out Proton Mail. I think you'll like what they have. So it's not really an abandoned AR-15. This is my AR-15 that I made before I was uploading videos to YouTube. This gun was made 9 to 11 years ago, and there's a lot of evidence of that just by looking at it. The first one is the Keymod handrail, Handguard. It's also very big. Back at the time, handguards were bigger around. Now they're all much more slim. We also have a obnoxious tanker style muzzle brake on there. The upper and lower receiver are Palmetto State Armory. That is a multi-cam pattern that I did with blue painter's tape and some spray paint. Vintage Magpul grip. They don't really make them like this anymore. I don't dislike this grip, but we're gonna put a dye-free on there for sure. You didn't see this either. Look at this charging handle. It's not an ambi, but it does have this giant latch on that one side. I guess I thought that was cool back in the day. A couple of things I did do right on this is I do have a nickel boron bolt carrier group. It's Aero Precision, and I do have a Faxon barrel on here. This was one of the very first Faxon products that I ever got to deal with, and that was also before I was a Faxon ambassador and doing stuff with them. So let's kind of go over the game plan. I want to keep the aesthetic of the gun the same. So overall, we're not going to make any drastic changes. So there's several things that I want to address, and these are things that you guys can follow along with me on. It's possible that you bought an AR-15 and you want to make some upgrades. The things that you touch are the most important things that convey the feel and how the gun feels in your hand and how it functions are the controls. So we're looking at a handguard, we're looking at a grip, we're looking at a trigger, we're looking at a safety, maybe some of the controls, obviously the charging handle, the stock. The parts where it connects with you are the ones that make the biggest difference there. So you want to have something that is comfortable, ergonomic, all of those things. There's also a lot of personal preference here that comes into play. I shot this gun for the first time in who knows how many years, and it was really interesting because at the time that I built that was the best gun that I could build. It was my my Ferrari F40, and lo and behold, now there is the F50 and the Enzo and all the other later additions that make the old one look obsolete, and that's what happened to us here. When I shot the gun a couple days ago, I was disgusted at my taste and what I thought was good. Technology has come so far. My personal taste, my ability to do better, all of those things have progressed. And I've always had a special spot for this gun. I've always liked it. I've always treated it as if it was something special. And to be reminded of how terrible it shoots was a little bit of an eye-opener. I'm making much better guns, and there is much better technology out there. So let's go over some of the things that we want to change. And these are things that you can change on your gun as well. The very first thing on my list is always that bolt carrier group. If you bought a budget gun and you want to make sure that it is reliable, get a nice bolt carrier group. So go get in, this is an Aero Precision, go get a Faxon bolt carrier group, go get a higher quality bolt carrier group. Right now is a great time to get a good bolt carrier group for under $200. The good ones are expensive. Most of the good ones start around $140 and go up. You want to stay away from those $89, $99 bolt carrier groups. The extractors and the material that those are made out of, they're just not as good as the more expensive ones that are made out of better materials, better extractors. A lot of them are billet. They're going to be stronger. You're not going to have trouble with those things breaking. The cheaper ones do break. I would like to make sure that this gun can run hard. Next, after that bolt carrier group, is we're going to address the trigger. Now, I would love to put an ELF trigger in here, but we've done so many ELF projects, and I actually don't have any ELF triggers left. I've put in 6 or 7 ELF triggers this summer, and I don't have any left. But Primary Arms sent us a Geisley. Now, this is the ssa-e. This should be a decent trigger for this. It is a 2-stage, which I would prefer a one stage for this application, but I also want to try out the Geisley trigger. And so we'll run this Geisley in there. We can always swap it if we don't like it later, but a nice little trigger upgrade. It has a trigger that I did a mild trigger job to. And let's go over here and kind of show you how hard you have to push, very hard. And the brake is clean, but the amount of pressure that is required to pull that trigger is really, I mean, we're past that. Maybe I felt like this was good back in the day, but we are not at this level right now. That's way too firm of a trigger. I do have some groups that I can show you. We did shoot some groups, but with a 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 LPVO on there, it's not really your best bet for accuracy, but we shot probably 1.5 inch or a 2-inch group at 100 yards with that. It was the cheap AAC ammo and 1 to 4 optics, so I was fine with that. We could dial that in a little bit better. So trigger upgrade, we're pretty much good to go on that. Now next, we talked about the handguard. I've got to get rid of the key mod, and Breek Arms was nice enough to send us out their new technology lockup. This is a solid option for a handguard. Now, there's a lot of handguard purists out there that'll tell you that if it's not a Geisley or a BCM, you shouldn't buy it. Those are fine handguards. They're very expensive. And my question along the way has always been, what material are they making them out of, and why do they deserve to have that higher price? So in the research that I've done, what we're trying to make sure that doesn't happen is two things. We want no flex in the handguard. So you want to make sure that it's thick enough and it's made out of the same material. Those higher end handguards, they're really just expensive for almost no reason. I mean, it is nice to have that logo on there, but this is made to the same, if not more, standards. This is an incredibly stiff handguard. And so stiffness is one thing that you're looking for in a handguard. The next thing that matters is the way that it locks up and that it connects to your gun. So in this model, we have an anti-rotation here that will clip off to the top. And then we have a really nice mounting system down here on the bottom that is secured by 2 opposing bolts that clamp in on this barrel nut. So we are going to have to change the barrel nut. That'll give us a chance to just peek inside this and make sure everything's going fine. We'll take the barrel off and retorque it, all of those things. But I would like to paint this, and given that this gun is a rattle can job, I think that I'll probably spray paint this, and that might make some of you cringe, but that's it's my gun, and so that's the direction that we're going to go. Now I want to show you a little detail here that I did when I spray painted this handguard, which, by the way, not a ton of use recently, but it was used pretty hard early on, and there is very little wear from the Krylon or whatever brand. There's a little bit of chipping going on right there, but very little wear, so to speak. So if the next one holds up like that, I would be quite happy with it. But one little detail here, do you see that I taped off the pick rail? So there's a black line. I tucked the tape up underneath that edge, and I only painted the body. I think I will do a detail like that to kind of keep the same aesthetic. I don't remember what color that is. We're gonna do a brown or a green or something on this one, but I think I'll tape that up to keep the Picatinny rail black, and that will kind of keep the same look, which I think will be kind of cool. So the bull carrier group, the trigger, the handguard, we're covered on those. This one is quite a bit thinner, and so that will feel much better. That one is very, very wide, bigger and wider than it needs to be. You could probably tuck suppressor under that with a shorter barrel. So I like the options so far. A couple other things that we're going to do is we're going to upgrade that grip. We're definitely going to put a dye-free grip on there, and I'm considering, I have a black one that we can do, but I'm also considering doing either a brown or an FDE, or a green, I guess. I have a green or an FDE. I could do either one on here. I'm considering doing that, but if we want to keep the same aesthetic, we might just go back to the black. So that will take care of all of our touch points right there. We do have an upgraded safety on here. So I'm not gonna upgrade this safety, we'll keep the same one. Now for the stock. The base Magpul definitely rattles. That's why they have the other models. But if you'll remember, we have a couple of tricks to help make that a little bit better. We like to take the stock off and put a sticker on. So since Primary Arms sent us out a trigger, I will use a Primary Arms sticker, and I'll put it on the buffer tube, and that will take up some space and cut down some of that rattle. We will also run our dingleberry hone in there and probably swap that spring out to one of the flat wires that we've been running. I do enjoy the flat wires. I feel like the recoil impulse is quite a bit better. 5.56 is a little snappy, and so when you're shooting that 5.56, that little twang that you get, I feel like having a lubed up flat wire does a really good job of taking away that impulse and making it feel like a smoother shooting gun. Also, the dingleberry hone in there, all those rough surfaces are smoothed out. So I think that's the direction we'll go on that. The only thing that is missing is a muzzle device. I do want to swap out this Tinker style muzzle device, but I'm not for sure what I want to put on there. So leave me some suggestions. I don't want anything too long. I'd like to be in the 2.5 inch range. I don't want to go any longer than that. All right, two other things on the list. The optic. I'm torn between throwing on, Gideon Optic just sent out their granite, and this one actually comes with a little pick rail. So I'm debating whether or not I want to run a dot. I have that as an option. We also have the Kraken that we could put on there with a riser. I have that one currently on a pistol. It's not going to stay on there because it's kind of ridiculous on a pistol. But I'm considering something like this. I really want to run an LPVO on there, but my taste and ability to appreciate a finer optic has come to pass the Crossfire from Vortex. Nothing wrong with the Crossfire. It's just not very good. It was really interesting when I first looked down there. So looking down that optic and feeling that trigger pull and that big old handguard, it was some things that were nostalgic, but also some things that I knew I needed to make some changes on. So we could do a dot on there. I really like rifles with a dot, but I also can appreciate a 5.56 like this, especially with a 16-inch barrel that could have an LPVO. Maybe we just need to look for something a little bit nicer. Gideon does make an LPVO. I could try to get one of those in, but maybe we'll just leave the Crossfire on there and call that good. The last thing we want to do is we need to put a light on there, and there's a lot of different directions you can go with a light. But I recently was sent a Goon Beam for a rifle. You guys have seen the Goon Beam stuff before. I'll leave a link to Goon Beam. If you don't have that assault flashlight, the one that looks like you're lighting up the moon, I've done several videos on it. Several of you have purchased it because I've heard from you. But the Goon Beam makes good stuff, and it's not really expensive. They've got a light for us that even comes with a tail cap, so I can have control over that with a pad. This is all really interesting to me, so I might... That lit up. I will probably run this Goon Beam on there. These are very bright. The price is very good. I really like those guys over at Goon Beam, and anytime I get a chance to support them, 100% love to do it. Oh, this thing comes with a charger, and I think the battery's probably in there. We got a cord. It comes with everything you need. You can set it up on a little rail mount, or you can go sticky. They even threw some zip ties in there to make sure your cord management is all good. So I think we'll throw that Goon Beam on there. It'll be black, but that'll be fine. It'll fit with what all we got going on. All right, so there's the overview. I'm excited about this project. I think that this will be applicable for many of you that are wanting to upgrade rifles. You can just upgrade yours right along here with me. I'll have a complete build list down below for you. Okay, I think I did it. After we just filmed that last piece, I stayed up for a couple hours, got some things sorted, and finished up this morning with some spray paint. And I think we're doing a pretty good job here. Okay, before I show you the rifle, thank you to Proton Mail for sponsoring this video. You guys check them out if you want some better, more secure email. Now, Geisley, this was sent in by Primary Arms. We got a Geisley trigger in there. Installation on there was just like any mil-spec trigger. Absolutely no big deal to get that done. So it is done, but with a couple of caveats. Yep, there it is. Got the Goon Beam on there. We went ahead and kept the same muzzle device. I need some help with a muzzle device. What should we put on there? What sort of muzzle device would be right for this build? This one is not right for this build, but I had it, and the only other one I have are some just regular A2 bird cages that I think I'd like to do something a little bit different than that. But here is the finished product. So let's go down here from the end, and I'll tell you everything I did. We kept this stock. I know it's a base model stock. we can always upgrade it. I have a couple of other black ones that I could put on there, but I'm actually thinking that I may go with green. I don't know. We'll leave it black for now. We dingle ball honed the inside, and I stuck my sticker in there. We got a primary arm sticker, and that really takes care of most of the wiggle and the rattle that was coming from this gun. Breek is going to send out a charging handle for us to swap out of this funky side one here, but I wanted to go ahead and leave this one on just because it sticks with the same aesthetic that we had before. The optic, but I'm undecided on that. And the main part here is the handguard. This is a beautiful Breek Arms handguard. It is absolutely rock solid. I would trust this amongst any handguard. Lockup is great. It's incredibly strong. And a couple of you mentioned that you wanted to know the difference in the weight. So I'll put up here on screen how much the Breek weighs. I wrote it down, but it's back at my office. I don't remember what it is. Back over here, I do remember because I weighed this one. It is 15.9 ounces. It's almost 1 pound for that big, heavy key mod one. So we definitely lost a little bit of weight, which you can definitely feel, but I definitely made it up there with the Goon Beam light. Again, the color on here is temporary. I'm gonna go with something a little bit darker, but I just had to fish through the spray paints that I had in the cabinet, and this was the best option. Before I get to the trigger and the light, I wanted to let you know I have finally found a new Cerakoter. I found out recently that the guy who's been doing work for me has closed his shop and sold all of his gear. So no option for Cerakote. He's been putting me off for a little while, and then it turns out he went ahead and closed his shop. So that's fine. Wish him the best. He did a great job. Super dude. I was able to find a new Cerakote guy today. So spent some time on the phone talking to a couple different guys. I think we found a good one, but we're going to give him a project, and then I'll show it to you. You guys let me know what you think. So we'll readdress this handguard later. It's real easy to sandblast. For the most part, Cerakote is, you have to sandblast it to prep for the Cerakote anyway, so the fact that I spray painted this won't mean anything. The Geissele trigger is a 2-stage trigger, which is probably less than ideal, but I don't mind it at all on this gun. I can kind of show you let me see if I can show you what this Geissele does. You have a 2-stage, which is from there to there. So you've got a little 2-stage action. A lot of people like 2 stages for a tactical style gun. I would prefer a single stage for that, but let's see here. There's that, and then the brake is just pretty nice. It's still firmer than like some of my competition style triggers, long range accuracy triggers. So the weight on this would definitely be more of a duty style, and so far so good. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to shoot this gun because it rained all day today, and there's rain in the forecast for the next couple of days. So you'll have to tune back in. Make sure that your notifications are on, because sometimes an update like that will come in a short. And finishing up is the Goon Beam. Now, I need to do a little bit of cable management, and a lot of that stuff was here in the kit. I just haven't played with it yet. But big rifle light Goon Beam on there, and it's got the pressure pad up top and the continuous on off. That's a part of the tailstop kit that comes standard with the Goon Beam kit. So if you get their rifle Goon Beam kit, you're gonna get the battery, the charger, the cable management, all of the connections and everything that you need in order to make that run right out of the box. In fact, I used no tools other than what came in the box, and I have this thing set up. I don't run a lot of lights on rifles, but going through the house and hitting that light going around the corners was kind of good. Obviously, this gun's a little bit, wrong scope and the wrong barrel length for something like that. Okay, so I think we'll call this a success. I'm very happy with it. I think the look is good, and I think that we upgraded some of our function, and we definitely brought this gun back to a modern standard, and it is more in line with the quality of guns that I'm building today versus what we had back there at the range. So hopefully it'll shoot a little bit better. We're gonna do some accuracy things like that. We have that new testing scope that came in from Discovery Optic. You might see that on here while we go through and test. I have several AR-15s that are gonna get tested for accuracy, and doing some barrel testing and things like that. And we're gonna also be working on that scope. All right, so if you want to see more, YouTube thinks you'll like this video right here. And make sure you're subscribed so you can see all of the updates. If you want to see more videos of our builds, check that recommended list right there. And the full build list of this gun right here will be in the comments down below and in the description. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.